Thunderbolts #1, written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, with art by Geraldo Borges, colors by Arthur Hesley, and letters by VC's Joe Sabino. And Arthur Hesley is somebody I didn't really know of, and I think that is on a couple books this week, so that's kind of cool. Maybe somebody just breaking in and doing some things. And I'll tell you, the colors are pretty good in this issue. The writing, maybe not so. Yet you have this Thunderbolts team, and really, if you read the Captain America book by Lansing and Kelly, then this is probably more of your thing. Me and you both were bored by that. I tried, but I just got bored.
Yeah, I read it. I read all of it, but it's just...
In this, you are going to reference a lot of things from that. When I first heard, Thunderbolts, I was thinking of, all the other iterations and things like that, where you can have a wacky team, you can do some fun stuff. But this ends up having that kind of Lansing and Kelly edge to it.
It's kind of like spy stuff or subterfuge.
Spycraft instead of just over the top, craziness. So when you do have it, you have the team. And even the team to me, I said to you, man, this team isn't that interesting. You're like, it's the movie team.
It's the movie.
Oh, God.
Even the Elaine characters in the movie. I mean, this...
the Contessa. So you have that. Now, there is a weird twist that I don't know they're going to play that in the movie.
Probably
we'll have to see. And I love Elaine, so there you go. But you start out this book with Bucky kind of going through narration. And I will say that a lot of times Lansing and Kelly over-narrate things. That's not quite the deal here. You have to narrate a little to get things going in the way that they're doing it. As Bucky is going to see the Contessa, he's kind of gathering up this Thunderbolts team. But by the end of this, it doesn't feel like an official Thunderbolts team, right? To me, it feels like Bucky and his buddies, hanging out, talking crap on Steve Rogers the whole way, and then trying to take down Red Skull.
Yeah, and Bucky just talks like just unilaterally talks, and nobody else says anything. He just has a narrative that runs through, and nobody else can say anything, really.
Yep, and it does, again, what happens here with Lansing and Kelly, in my mind, you do have, pretty cool action going on. I mean, legitimately, this is Bucky gathering a team to storm a Nazi castle to take down Red Skull. That seems like a lot of fun. Somehow Lansing and Kelly get their mitts on it, and it's not as fun as you would think. It has to be the dialogue, but I can't really... The only thing that I can say is that nobody really feels like themselves or unique amongst this team. And like you said, Bucky is there to just drive them forward. And everything does feel like, remember when you would play a video game and, it was like on rails. You'd have a shooter, but it pushed you forward and you just kind of, that's what it feels like. It feels like there's this crazy thing pulling you forward and through this whole adventure type deal to go storm the castle, that it doesn't really feel like it's real. It just feels like it's happening to them without them really being involved, even to the point where, you start out and get Contessa. You get Contessa Allegra de Fontaine. She is there. She's going to join the team. Bucky and her, at gunpoint, and they kind of convince, man, I like the cut of your jib. Let's go. Then they head towards Argentina, where you have this Nazi base. Yeah. And you have this Nazi base here with the Red Skull. You have a bunch of Hydra/Nazis around. And then, boom, you end up having Sharon Carter, the Destroyer Sharon Carter that ended up in that run of Captain America, the Sentinel of Liberty. So you end up, she just shows up.
Yeah, but even the Nazi thing felt weird because usually you're like you said, it's Hydra in the Marvel Universe. It's never really Nazis. And that's...
Then when there's destruction and blowing up, they are blowing up Hydra containers to then jump back to the Nazis. It's a weird mix here of Nazis and Hydra. But again, you get Sharon. So right now you have Bucky, you have the Contessa, and you have Sharon Carter. And they're all talking crap on Steve Rogers. They are through. So it doesn't have that, in my mind, the Thunderbolts and any team like this, like a Suicide Squad, even things like that. The fun is the different people who are forced together to be a team. This feels more of Bucky and his adventurous, foursome. They're there. They kind of have the same deal. They have a past together. It just feels like it's too on the money that way.
The original concept of the Thunderbolts is villains that are now reformed or posing as heroes, which I don't think this team is that.
It kind of is,
but
it
not
kind of
really.
isn't. Like, you know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah. Sharon's not a criminal.
Yeah, but yet the play they're playing is she's the new destroyer. So, because Roger Aubrey got it's weird. It feels like fudging it. But like I said, I mean, you end up where Sharon and Bucky, and they have a past, and that doesn't give what I usually like in things like that unique vibe of, oh man, they're never going to get along, and how are they going to do this, and how are they going to get, even when they end up, they're waiting for somebody else. They say, who is the other person? And he's going to show up later. But then when he does show up, because it seems like it's the Red Guardian, Bucky doesn't know how he knew how to show up. They ask him, how did you know we were here? Oh, White Widow told me. And then like, oh, okay. But it seems like he's in. But again, then you have Red Guardian. Like you said, it's more of the movie type squad.
I think his name's David Balfour, the guy from Stranger Things. That's what this character is.
Yeah, and I like that guy, but you're just doing that here. And yeah, he's just yelling his thing. He's kind of the comedy relief, though I don't think Lansing and Kelly are that funny. But I'm telling you, the visuals, for the most part, are cool at points. You do end up even at a point where you have these Nazis go and attack, and you have, the super Nazi guys and the Red Skull guys come out, and they end up at one point jumping on the Contessa, and it looks like she's going to be shot in the face, where she then reveals, oh, you don't know this. But they have that connection because she has the connection with Red Skull. And she says the Contessa actually died years ago. I'm a backup in a body that's kind of a construct / robot android. And her face opens up with a gun coming out, and she just blows this guy away. And you end up where Bucky and Sharon are just like, I didn't know that. I'm like, neither did I, but I think I like her more. And then they just keep going. Again, there's such a forward push on rails to get through this, to get to Red Skull, because then by the end you realize this is just kind of a wow moment, attempt to be a wow moment issue. You would want that in the first issue where people would be impressed. They're like, oh, that's really cool. But by the end you realize we didn't really accomplish much. But they're there, and you're going to play this play of them really, I said, it bothered me that they were bad-mouthing Steve so much. Ooh, you didn't tell Steve about this, did you? I didn't tell that guy because he's too goody-goody at that. And you go, oh. And when you get into the castle, all of a sudden it looks like Steve has joined them. He ends up, there's an airdrop, says, here comes our guy. And you have the whole play with the shield until when it hits, and Bucky punches it as if it's like a thing they planned. But again, it doesn't feel like they knew
I didn't know what was going on there.
You know what I mean? He ends up coming down, and then you have Bucky punches the shield with his, metal arm. And then you end up where Sharon says, Steve? And yet, even better.
It could have been U.S. Agent, too, because he's also in the movies or TV show.
I thought it was U.S. Agent at first. I thought, but again, that might give you a little bit of that, tension. Red Guardian shows up to yuck it up for the most part. I kind of need something a little more than yucking it up. But again, they start saying, hey, and there's going to be a joke here where Sharon's like, if he's the backup, who's next? Batrock the Leaper? And also Sharon curses a lot, and that's redacted. It kind of gets annoying. I'd rather have wingdings than that, the black lines. So you end up where then Red Guardian says, if there is backup here, it's all of you. The operation is mine. And then Bucky says, is it? Who exactly told you about this op, Alexei? I thought you did, Bucky. You said that this guy was coming earlier, so I thought that this was a plan, but it wasn't. He's like, oh, your friend White Widow? Okay, that makes sense, and these guys are going to try to destroy the homeland with their... There you go. They're all there fighting, but it doesn't feel like a Thunderbolts team. It just feels like random characters that have got together to go take down Red Skull as they go and just knock heads. Then they do run into Red Skull, and you get Bucky punching him like he's Hitler. You get that, visual, which, again, it didn't really do much for me. But they end up taking down the Red Skull. I mean, as they're doing their quippy dialogue back and forth, they end up taking him down. he's talking all this crap. They unmask him and pretty much shoot him right in the face. And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, at least that's pretty badass. I mean, you're going, pretty big with that. But then they have a play. Now, again, who told you, Alexei, about this op? I don't understand why you're here. Oh, White Widow did. Then suddenly, you have Bucky. Hey, did you bring that vodka I told you about? What's going on? Where were you not talking or talking? And so you end up, hey, he says, I brought the vodka you requested, but yet Bucky seemed to not understand how or why he showed up.
I think he should have just been like, hey, here's some vodka because I'm a drunk.
He should have said, now that we finished, let's celebrate. Bucky would then say, ooh, I got better plans, because he gets the vodka and makes a Molotov cocktail to blow up an entire castle with just one thing of vodka and a lighter. That's not how it works. But
no, that thing's made of stone. I mean, it's not wood.
It's a stone castle.
They don't burn down.
You have Red Guardian acting like a schmuck, cheering it up over there.
What is this, Thor Ragnarok, the movie? I mean, what is this?
Seriously, I hear everybody yelling about Love and Thunder and Thor Ragnarok.
Thunder,
what about this? Yeah. So it's Bucky Barnes' Love and Red Guardian. I don't know what you'd call it. But you have that, again, this is the stuff that drives me nuts with Lansing and Kelly, where he says that the guy is coming. When he shows up, he seems confused of how he joined and how he knew, but yet they got a hold of him to bring vodka. Like, okay, you're just doing individual scenes, not really jiving and just smashing them together, because it doesn't seem, and maybe that's the play of having two writers. Maybe one guy's doing this and that, but wouldn't you read the script the other guy's writing? Very odd.
I like the art in this, and then I struggle with it. I'm like, imagine if Mark Miller had written this, how good it would be. Just don't even have to change. Just change all the dialogue and keep the art.
Yeah, because the dialogue, it's not terrible, but it's not good. It doesn't do anything for the story. Like I said, the whole thing feels on rails going towards Red Skull, and then you're almost like, it's like the old Marvel way, and at the end you're just jamming in word bubbles where you think they might be able to say it. It doesn't really do much for the overall story or the characters or the combo or anything together. Yeah. So at the end, they're legitimately walking away from an entire huge castle that is now blowing up because of one thing of vodka and a lighter. Don't tell me that on the other side there were bombs, because then you wouldn't need the vodka. You already have a lighter. You already have that. It's just there to be these big plays. Really, what I thought was he just was pissed off and wanted to burn those Nazi flags. But yet, everything on fire. It's all coming down. Red Guardians cheering, and then you get the play at the end of, oh, you thought that was the real Red Skull? Well, I always come back, and now OG might be back. Ha ha, I'm here in what looks like, I don't know, it looks like the down under of the Goonies. Like, next thing you know, you're going to see a pirate ship, and Sloth is going to come out with a baby Ruth. It's ridiculous. I actually thought I liked this a little more than when we start going through this, because it's not good. No. Maybe you could say that Lansing and Kelly are forced in with this team that just to me isn't that interesting anyway as a combo team here. But they really didn't do much with it.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier, but when I read movie tie-ins, I like Ralph Macchio to write them, not these guys.
I like Ralph Macchio doing them because I know they're going to be nonsense and I can laugh at them. And we did mention, just as an aside, we didn't see a Ralph Macchio Marvels book come out. And that's odd, because he always, it feels like he has a weird contract that anytime a movie comes out, he gets a one shot that ties into nothing. It just, that's part of the contract. Write something so much nonsense that it doesn't tie into anything current with the books or the movie. Just do it. But he didn't do that. Maybe because of the delays and stuff with that or whatnot. Or he said maybe he just didn't want to get involved. Like the Marvels was so bad that he didn't want to get involved with this nonsense. But what would you give this?
Oh man, it's tough. I think my score actually went down. I was talking about it. I'd give it a 5.5.
Now I'm giving it a 5. A 5 as just a generic
regular 5.
It could get better.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.